Hello everyone, welcome. Today I am going to be giving you rapid reviews of 25 of the hottest new beauty releases. Just a few days ago, I returned from an almost 2-week vacation. And during the time that I was away, I was still, scrolling on social media and hearing my fellow content creators talking about all of these fabulous new products that have recently launched. I knew that when I returned from my trip, I was going to have to cover a lot of ground, or a lot of products. Now, there are a couple of products that I am going to be reviewing in this video that I have spoken about in other videos that I uploaded right before I left. For example, the new Natasha Denona High Glam Foundation. I do have a full dedicated review to this foundation, so I'm only going to be touching on it briefly. But then again, as I said, I'm only going to be talking about all of these very briefly. I am just going to be giving you the bottom line. I'm going to be telling you whether or not I would repurchase these products or if I would recommend these products based on my experience. So let's talk about 3 new, very, very popular foundations. The one I just mentioned, Natasha Denona High Glam, the newly reformulated Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation, and then the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin. You know what? I lost my glasses on my trip, and I have not been home long enough to order new ones, so all I have right now are my readers from the drugstore. So I have to look this up. I believe it is called Surreal Skin. Well, actually, both of his foundations are called Surreal Skin. This one is the Natural Finish Foundation. The other foundation he has is the Luminous Hydrating Foundation. And for those of you that might be new to my channel, I have oily, mature skin. Yes, you heard that right. Whenever you hear the words mature skin, you typically think of dry skin, but we do exist. Those of us who are over 40, over 50, some of us still have oily skin. So when I heard that Mario is coming out with a foundation that was for all skin types, but definitely better suited for oily than his previous foundation, I was very excited. It is the one I have on today. This foundation claims to offer medium coverage with a natural finish, and I would 100% agree with that. Is it ideal for someone with oily skin? No. But Mario doesn't claim that it's ideal for oily skin. His claim is simply that oily skins can wear it. You just might have to use an oil controlling primer underneath, powder a little bit more often during the day, which is exactly what happens to me with this foundation. I do believe that someone with normal to dry skin is really going to enjoy this foundation because it is very, very spreadable. It does have that real natural skin-like finish to it. I feel like if you have very dry skin, you would much prefer his other formula, the Luminous Finish. So whether or not you decide to choose this foundation should really be dependent on your skin type and the finish that you're looking for, because both are medium coverage, both are long wearing. This one claims to have 16-hour wear. I believe the Luminous claims to have 12-hour wear. They're both vegan, cruelty-free, fragrance-free. They come with a pump. There's a great shade selection. And the great thing about purchasing from Sephora is that you can get a free sample and try it before you buy. Now, once again, I mentioned I do have a full in-depth video on the Natasha Denona High Glam with check-ins throughout the day. Personally, I find the Natasha Denona to have a little bit more coverage than the Makeup by Mario. Not a lot, they're both medium coverage foundations, but I find this one to be a little bit more buildable. Even though I did get shiny with this foundation, I felt like it was a very beautiful, kind of glowing shine and not a greasy type of shine. I will have the link to my full length review and wear test of this foundation in the description box, and I will have a card, a YouTube card somewhere on the screen. Now the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless. I am someone who actually liked the original formula. A lot of people felt like it was too thick, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm used to wearing medium to full coverage foundations that it didn't bother me. I didn't necessarily think it needed to be reformulated. I didn't really see much of a difference between the old formula and the new formula. But other people have told me that they do feel like the texture of this is more lightweight, it's easier to blend, it doesn't feel as heavy nor look as heavy on the skin. And I have to say the reviews on Sephora.com for this reformulation are a lot better than the reviews were for the old. So I don't know, maybe I need to do another side-by-side wear test of the old versus the new, because it sounds like I'm missing something here. But this is still a full coverage foundation. It claims to blur, large pores, and texture. And I find that it does do that. But I also find that this one does, and this one does as well. They are all really, really good foundations. You've got two amazing medium coverage, natural to radiant finish foundations. And then you've got a foundation that I think is probably better suited to combination to oily skin. It is more full coverage. This might be one that you keep in your makeup stash for special occasions. Now, in case you're wondering what foundation I used on my trip to Italy, I took two. I took the new Tier Red Mask Fit Liquid Foundation, and I also took the Christian Dior Forever Skin Perfect 24-Hour Skin Foundation. So to be really honest with you, if I were not a beauty content creator / YouTuber, I'm not sure I would have bought any of the three new foundations because I am so happy with the Tier and the Dior. So yeah, it's a very confusing time if you're in the market to buy a new foundation because there are so many good ones out there. Charlotte Tilbury also released a new setting spray that I, as an oily skinned person with large pores and texture, was so excited about. The Airbrush Flawless Matte Blur Setting Spray. I have been singing the praises of the original Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray for a couple of years now. I have gone through so many bottles of that setting spray, so I was really looking forward to trying this. And I'm just not loving this. Maybe it's just no match for someone as oily as I am, but I do not see many results with this. At least nothing that is any different from the original Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. And I've tried it many times. I shake it up every single time. I do not like how, at least the bottle that I have, the spray comes out a little bit more, not a little bit, a lot more wet than the original Airbrush Flawless. I don't know, it just feels more wet on my skin. And it doesn't seem to dry as fast. Now, that might not be a problem for people. Some people might not even pay attention to that. You know, it could be because the foundation and the powders that I use are just so blurring on their own that my skin doesn't need any more blurring. Maybe that's what the issue is. There's only so much blurring of your skin you can accomplish, right? What I was really hoping for is that this would keep me more matte. And sadly, it did not. I've heard other people raving about this. And when that happens, when I feel like I'm the minority opinion, I'm sure you do the same thing. I start to question myself. Like, maybe I need to try this again because everyone seems to love it. Why don't I love it? But no matter how hard I try, I can't love it. So it is what it is. I have it. I'll continue to use it. But will I repurchase it when I run out? Probably not. Now let's talk powders. I've got two blurring powders here. This is the newest one from Dior. This is the Dior Forever Nude Matte Filter. I have it in the shade Light, and I did use this in my full face of Dior video. And this is truly a beautiful, blurring, mattifying powder. Totally worth the money if you are a luxury beauty lover. But you know what? The one size is pretty good too. This is the Boucle Silk Cellulose Airbrushed Powder. I also have this in the shade Light. And as you can see, the One Size Light is slightly lighter than the Dior Light. The Dior also has a fragrance to it. It's slight. It's not super overpowering in my opinion, but I know that is bothersome to many people. And of course there is a price difference here as well. The One Size powder is $40 and the Dior is $52. The One Size also has a lot more shades to choose from. I find them both to be excellent at blurring. I used the One Size this morning on top of the Mario foundation, but to touch up, I'm going to use the Dior. And look at that. It's a filter and a compact, in my opinion. It's really, really difficult for me to say, however, which one is more blurring because they both do a truly, truly fantastic job. So, dealer's choice. Oh, I should probably mention one other pretty major point of difference for a lot of people. The One Size is talc-free, whereas the Dior is not. Next up is, I'm sorry to say, a concealer that is currently only available outside of the US. I purchased this in Italy at the Sephora in Rome. This is called Ultra Latant Corrector Waterproof Concealer. I'm gonna have to put on my readers to tell you why this concealer is so good. Chanel's Ultra Latant Corrector Concealer offers a waterproof, ultra lightweight formula that wears comfortably throughout the day, delivering hydration and seamless buildable coverage that melts into the skin. Designed to illuminate and smooth the complexion, it visibly diminishes dark circles, fine lines, and surface imperfections. Color irregularities such as dark spots and redness appear softened, while the skin's texture is refined and the eye area appears brighter, fresher, and beautifully rested. I have it linked in the description box to Harrods in the UK. I cannot see it on the Chanel website at the moment, but if you are in Europe, you should be able to find it at your local Sephora. I did ask the Chanel representative who was working in the store that day if this concealer was coming to the States, and he said yes. And he matched me to the shade. We're gonna do the take a picture and zoom in thing, B20. Everything I just read to you about this concealer is true. It brightens, it hydrates, and fingers crossed it comes to the United States soon because it is amazing. It is so good. I am wearing it today. It lasts all day. This may knock my Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer out of my top spot for my #1 concealer. And this frosted glass packaging with a matte cap is so luxe. You've got the Chanel logo on the top, and then it just has the little Chanel name right on the bottom. Now let's talk contour. This is the new Haus Labs Precision Sculpt Shaping Stick. I purchased mine in the shade Sculpt, and I think this is my new favorite contour stick. I have been eyeing the Victoria Beckham contour stick that's like really skinny. I thought it would be great for an easy contour for the nose, but it only comes in 3 or 4 shades and I could only order it online and I was never sure what shade to get. And then when I saw this launch, I thought, oh, perfect. It looks pretty similar. It's a little bit wider, but I still thought it would be great for nose contour. And it is. It blends out like a dream. It comes in many great shades, including cool tones. There seems to be a shade for every skin tone within the range, and it's a little bit less expensive than the Victoria Beckham. By the way, I am going to be filming this week a chatty get ready with me using some of these products that I haven't shown in other videos so that you can see them in action and you don't have to just take my word for it. But take my word for it. This is really, really good. Okay, speaking of contouring, about a month ago, when it first launched, I did a dedicated video to the MPH by Mary Phillips contour palette, highlight and contour palette. And if you watched that video, I did say that I had always been skeptical of underpainting that I just never really saw a huge difference in the way my makeup looked, or even when I was working as a freelance artist and I would try underpainting on clients. And if you're not familiar with underpainting, basically it's doing all of your contouring and highlighting and correcting before you apply foundation and the rest of your makeup. Mary Phillips decided to come out with her own palette to make underpainting easier. So I mentioned in that video how I had always been skeptical of that method. I didn't necessarily think it was worth the time. And at the end of that video, I said that I could see a difference, and a lot of you said that you could see a difference. Perhaps it was slight, but you saw a difference. And I said, you know, maybe I'll do it on occasion, like for a special occasion. I simply wasn't sure if I was going to be making underpainting a new regular part of my routine, that I was going to make it a habit. And lo and behold, I have not made it a habit. I just don't use it that much. And if I do use it, I use it over my foundation the old way. Underpainting, I should have known. I gave it another try and it's just not really for me. But if you are a professional makeup artist, or if you're someone who feels like underpainting really does make a huge difference in how your makeup looks, this is a great palette. The creams are super creamy. It is one of the creamiest formulas I have ever worked with. It's very beginner friendly, but I can't say that if I lost this or if I ran out, which I'll never run out, but if I lost this, if I would go repurchase it. Yeah, I can't say that I would. I also purchased one of her lip liners and one of the lip siggies. Is there anything super special about this lip liner? No. It's not exceptionally long wearing. The color I chose is nearly impossible to read on the packaging, even with my glasses. It's called Skinny Dip. And then the lip siggy, I thought this was great. The story behind this is that Mary wanted it to be as thin as a cigarette, perfect for her celebrity clients' evening bags. And I'm not a celebrity, but I tend to carry tiny clutches when I go out for the evening. And I love that this fits so easily into even the tiniest clutch bag. The color I chose is called Tickled Pink, which is described as a sheer classic pink. And here's a photo of me wearing this lip combo. I definitely think Mary did a wonderful job with the shades of these products, the lip liner shades as well as the lipstick shades. I had to order the lip siggy online. At the time, none of them were in any of my local Sephora stores. They might be there now. So the next time I am at a brick and mortar Sephora store, I might check and see if there are any other shades that I want. So it's not necessarily a must-have, but it's definitely a good to have if you also carry small bags. Anyone who's watched my channel for even a short amount of time, maybe you've watched 10 videos or less of mine, you've probably already come to the conclusion that I love blush. And anytime a new blush is launched, I don't care if it's from the drugstore, mid-end, high-end, I've got to try it. And I was really, really intrigued by these Glossier Cloud Paint Plush blushes. It was so hard for me to pick just one shade. So the one I ultimately ended up with was this one called Bloom. It is what I'm wearing today. And this is such a beautiful, light, plush texture that's very, very diffusing. It is very friendly to those of us with large pores. The color lasts all day long. Is the packaging super luxe? No, but I still think it's cute. I like how the color is on the front. So if you do end up purchasing several shades, you know which one to grab very easily. It comes in 10 shades. It retails for $26. It's cruelty-free, it's vegan, and basically the biggest upside to this blush is how blurring and long wearing it is. So I highly recommend. I also highly recommend pretty much everything I've tried from the new Hung Van Gogh makeup line. Hung is a celebrity makeup artist that I have been following for years. And I am such a fan of the beautiful work he's done on Selena Gomez, on Jessica Chastain, Kate Hudson, just so many celebrities. and his work is just so beautiful. So when I heard he was launching his own makeup brand, and then I saw the images of the products, I had a visceral reaction. I could not wait for this brand to launch. I started off purchasing one eyeshadow palette, one lipstick, one blush, and one lip liner. The first eyeshadow palette I purchased is called New Neutral, and it is the one I have on today. I love everything about this palette. The mixture of mattes and shimmers. There are a couple that are actual like shimmers, and then there's a couple that are more like toppers that you can put over the shimmers to make them even more sparkly. I love that the compact has a mirror. I love the size of the compact. I did travel with both of these on my trip because they just fit so easily into my travel makeup bag. The second one I bought after falling in love with the neutrals was the Warm palette called Wonderful Warm. So I highly recommend the eyeshadow palettes. The blush I purchased is in Second Language. Such a pretty matte pinky peach. Is it as blurring as this one? Not quite, but it's not like it emphasizes texture. It's a really nice, soft formula. I mean, everything I have used so far has been really good. Exceptional, that's debatable, but I'm happy with what I've purchased, and I do think that the eyeshadow palettes are the standout products from the range. The lip liners, I personally prefer lip pencils that you sharpen versus the kind that you twist up. The color I purchased is called Define the Shape. The reason why I picked this liner and this lipstick, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, I'll put it on the screen, is because I saw this video photo of Scarlett Johansson on Hung's Instagram page, and I have similar coloring to Scarlett Johansson, so I thought it looked pretty and different from what I usually wear. So yeah, that's what I got. The formula is very, very creamy. It's not a super long wearing lipstick, but it doesn't claim to be. You will have to touch up this lipstick. The bottom line is I definitely think the entire brand is worth looking into, especially if you happen to be in a Sephora store and they have everything right there on display for you to swatch and see with your own eyes versus having to choose online. Now, a lipstick I do find exceptional for its long wear time is this new one from Dior. I also showed this in my full face of Dior video. The shade I have is called Iconic Rose number 120. The packaging is, of course, very sleek, very Dior. I love the slim applicator. It's very creamy. There's a shine to this formula, and typically lipsticks with shine are not very long lasting, but you do get some really decent wear time with this lipstick. And the last time I checked, this particular shade was sold out, and I completely understand why, because it is absolutely stunning. And I think it's going to look beautiful on a lot of different skin tones. My only complaint about this packaging, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes I struggle to close it. I have been talking about some expensive makeup in this video. So I'm gonna move over to a couple affordable products that I highly recommend. And they are the new Plumping Matte Lipsticks and new signature lip liners from Morphe. Morphe did send over the entire collection to me, and I did post an Instagram reel showcasing all of my favorite combos. These Morphe lip liners are so good. They're so affordable. They're long wearing. The shade selection is Chef's Kiss, and they glide on with ease. They last a really, really long time. They're $9. And then also the lipsticks. They are called Lip Filter Hydro Plumped Soft Matte Lipsticks. They come in 12 shades. It says here that they are a silky smooth matte lipstick, buildable true to lip shades, soft vanilla scent. It contains plumping peptides, jojoba seed oil, and mango butter. And these retail for $15. Morphe also sent over their new soft focus powders. They call these finishing powders. And these are meant to kind of give you the same effect as the Hourglass powders do, the Hourglass finishing powders, where some of them have a little bit of a shimmer or a sheen or a glow, but it's not like glittery. It's not anything that you should be afraid of, especially if you have mature skin or textured skin. And honestly, as someone with oily skin, I would not use this as a finishing powder, but I have been using it as a very subtle glow. If you are someone that wants to bring out your cheekbones, you like the idea of a highlighter, but most highlighters are too sparkly or intense for you, then definitely give this a try. And if your skin is drier, you may want to try dusting it all over the face as a radiant finishing powder. The one I used today is called Cloud Light, and I just used my fingers to apply it. You can see how it just accentuates the cheekbones, but it's very, very subtle and not glittery. It's really, really pretty. This is great for someone who wants to try a highlighter, but has been afraid of trying a highlighter, or wants to try one of those hourglass finishing powders, but didn't really want to spend that much money on one. This product is vegan, cruelty-free, and retails for $16. Speaking of hourglass, this is the Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked. I purchased the Swan palette. The other day I posted a video about my hot takes, my beauty hot takes, as someone who has been in the beauty industry for nearly 30 years now. And one of my hot takes is that I don't see the appeal. I mean, I see the appeal, and I understand that some people are collectors of these palettes because of the beautiful artwork. I just don't get as excited about these palettes as other people do. And I strongly believe, again, unless you are a collector, you do not need to have more than one of these palettes. They are much smaller in person than they look online, at least that's been my opinion. And the pans are too small for me personally. This is just a personal preference that I also mentioned in that video. I like to use a big fluffy brush for my bronzer, and I find it very difficult to just sort of pick up the bronzer itself. And it's a good color. I mean, I do really love the color story in this palette, so that's really important to note. Do your research before you do purchase one of these palettes, and make sure that it's actually going to show up on your skin, because even though I have light skin, I have purchased other Ambient Unlocked palettes in previous years that have just been way too light for me, and I just never reach for them. So do your research before selecting your palette if you really do want to get one. But do I think that they're an absolute must-have? Everyone should have one in their collection? I want to say yes, because I feel like that's what all influencers say. But I am nothing if not true to myself. And no, I don't think everyone needs to own one of these. All right, where are we at? I've got to look at my list, make sure I haven't missed anything. I have missed a few things. The Anastasia Beverly Hills newest brow pen. They used to have a brow pen that I did not love, and I do like a brow pen because my brows are pretty much non-existent or barely existent, and I like to use a pen to create very natural looking feather-like strokes. And the previous ABH brow pen that they had, the colors just never worked for me. So I was very excited when they came out with this micro stroke brow pen. I ordered the taupe. The first thing I love about it is that it has a spoolie on the end. I have said this about every brow product I've ever tried. I need a spoolie. I think it is a must for a brow product. And then on the other side, they've made the applicator much tinier, hence the micro stroke name. As I said, I'm going to be doing a full demo using a lot of these products very soon, but the color works for me. It's very natural looking. It lasts all day. It's not too red. It's not too gray or green. I've had that happen with other brow pens, that the blonde shade or the taupe shade comes out green. I definitely feel like this is a huge improvement from their last brow pen. If you are a shimmer lover, you are going to love these Tower 28 Go-Go Cooling Shimmer 8-Hour Eyeshadow Sticks. I have 2 of them, and they are beautiful. I already have so much shimmer on my eyes, so I'm not going to put any more on. I mean, I suppose I could. No, I'm really liking the way my eyes are looking right now. So once again, you're just going to have to trust me that these are fantastic. They're cooling. They wear up to 8 hours. The shades are beautiful. These have biomimetic sugar complex that addresses dryness and cakiness. They also have a crystal blend that adds multi-dimensional shimmer and Irish moss that smooths skin and locks in moisture. So if you do have mature eyelids and perhaps you've been afraid of using a shimmer, these are very mature skin friendly. They're beginner friendly. They're pretty much goof proof, and I highly recommend them. Okay, I've just got 2 more products to talk about. We're almost at the end. One is a hair product. This is the Chris McMillan Glassy Smooth Blow Dry Spray. If you have tried Color Wow Dream Coat or Color Wow's Dream Coat Extreme and have not been thrilled with the results, I'm going to insist that you try this because I was one of those people that did not see great results with the Color Wow. I wanted it to smooth out my hair, make blow drying easier, but most of all, I wanted it to keep the frizz away. I didn't want to walk out the door after spending however long blow drying and smoothing my hair, and within minutes having it just poof up and look coarse and frizzy. This product does everything I wanted the Color Wow to do. And I was so happy with the results from this that I did go and purchase the travel size for my trip to Italy, which I said to myself would be the test because it is very humid in Positano and my hair looked great. Was it 100% frizz-free? No, you know I'm not gonna lie to you, but it was a lot better, a lot smoother after I used this than any other smoothing product I have ever tried, and I have tried them all. And then lastly, a fragrance. This is from Ellis Brooklyn. This is the Queen's Caramel Eau de Parfum. This is actually my first fragrance from this brand. It was sent to me in a PR package. And I do like caramel scents, but I typically find them to be a little bit too sweet, a little bit too cloying. And upon first spray, I did feel like it was going to be a little bit too much, that it wasn't going to be a fragrance that I would reach for, because it does kind of smell like fresh baked cookies, which isn't a bad thing, but I just don't know if I necessarily want to smell like fresh baked cookies all day long. But the dry down on this, that is when the game changed for me. All of a sudden, it didn't smell overly sweet anymore. It just smelled really warm and cozy. And of course, everyone's body chemistry is different, so it might smell different on you than it does on me. And the longevity might not be there for you as it has been for me, but it has been for me. I can smell this on my skin hours later. This falls into the warm and spicy fragrance family. It is a sweet gourmand, which I've already mentioned, and the keynotes are caramel, whipped coconut, and milky musk. I can see myself reaching for this all fall and winter for not only my evening scent, but my daytime scent as well. All right, my throat is kind of hurting for how long I have been talking, and because I am such a talker, these reviews were probably not as rapid as I hoped going into this. However, if you did enjoy this video, I truly appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. That means so much to me. Sharing it with a friend you think might also enjoy it. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, I hope that you will consider doing so. I do upload new videos at least twice per week. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok under the same username, Risa Does Makeup. I also have a second channel now focused on travel and fashion. It's called Passport and Pumps, and I will have a link to that channel in the description box as well. All of the products I've mentioned today will be listed and linked down below in the description box of this video, as well as tagged through YouTube Shopping if available. So yeah, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video.